June 23rd is the day. The second New Hampshire Small Business Festival is set. We're ready to go. $65 for a booth. If you want in, reach out at nhbusinessshow@gmail.com and we'll get you a space. Hello everyone, welcome back to the New Hampshire Business Show. My name is Chris Pastrana and today I'm here with Jessica Michaud of Mystical Inspirations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun and I'm super glad to bring someone on your field because I've never done this before, so this is going to be pretty cool.
Awesome.
So let's get a little bit of history on you, your business, what do you do, and what is Mystical Inspirations?
What is Mystical Inspirations? Well, Mystical Inspirations started about 4 years ago. I had a group of friends. We got together like a book study type of group, and we all enjoyed crystals and whatnot, and I made a wand and I brought it in and all the girls saw it and they were like, oh, that's so pretty, you should make more. And they kind of convinced me to make more, and from there it just escalated. I had gone to college for art and photography and I never graduated. I wanted to go out and spread my wings and go to work and move out and get an apartment and start a life. So I did that, and then when my son went to kindergarten, I found myself with a lot of extra time on my hands. I had been working at a campground for quite a few years, so I was always laid off in the wintertime, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So that winter I made that wand, and it started with a couple wands and a few paintings. And my first, I went to a little farmer's market up in Ossipee, which is small, and I had a spot about this big on the table, and I had a couple wands and a couple spoons and a couple paintings, and now I have a 10 by 10 tent that I can pack full, and I make everything from ear cuffs to headpieces to rings and necklaces, so boxes. I do the art of pyography, which is wood burning, so okay. I have some unique pieces like that and do custom stuff with that. It's fun. I do a lot of Renaissance festivals, and I do some psychic fairs, and another part of my business, I do read tarot cards, Native American. I started that about 18 years ago. About the same time I started studying crystals and rocks, and I got into that and crystal healing, and that work has taken me further on my path, and I do a lot of energy work now. A lot of energy healing, different styles and techniques that I've been learning over the years. So, half the time I'm out vending my wares, and then the other half I am, helping people on their journey, helping them feel better, live a better, healthier life, things like that. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a lot there. So.
And let's see, I was at the campground for 13 years, and so I was working there the past couple of years, 40, 50 hours a week, because they had sold it, and I was running the front office, and then I left that in October, so now I'm spreading my wings to do this full-time versus just part-time hobby that it's been for the last 3 or 4 years.
So that's very interesting, actually. So how has that been going from campground to this?
I'm much happier.
Yeah.
I get to create. I get to do what I really enjoy, what I love to do, my passion, and I get to help people. And that is really big for me. That brings me a lot of satisfaction in life. And it's, there's no financial stability, so that can be a little nerve-wracking. I have a family and a house, and, we want to keep everything running smoothly. So it's very transitional at this moment in time, I don't have that financial security that was always there, but I'm much happier, and I'm looking forward to this adventure.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So let's get into this a little bit. I know you brought some stuff with you, so let's show some of it off a little bit, and so people can see what you do.
Sure.
Show and tell is like my favorite part of this. It's so much fun.
Let's see. So I make headpieces, and this is definitely one of my specialties. So I make a lot of these, and I do them for weddings. I go down to Salem in October and spend a few weekends there selling them. Lots of people like to put crowns on their heads and dress up, turn themselves into elves and fairies and everything in between. I also make... I have lots of headpieces.
Yeah.
I left boxes and boxes. In fact, this is brand new. Nobody's seen it yet.
Oh, really?
This is for my new 2018 line, and this is called the Crystal Maiden, and it's a remake of a very popular style called Maiden that I had made a few years ago. So this had some added bling to the old one. So that was fun. I also make ear cuffs. And I make these in all sorts of styles and colors. And so these are really fun because, the kids want to be fairies.
Yeah,
Get the
elves
kids.
and,
Us adults like to be fairies sometimes. And elves and, oh gosh, I have unicorn headpieces.
Yeah, I saw that one online.
Mermaid
Yeah,
headpieces. So, and of course, and we love all the steampunk stuff. So, we have to have some steampunk items because those are fun.
Are those pretty comfortable to wear?
These are super comfortable to wear. Let me show you. This is a pair of mine that I wear. And they're a nice soft metal, so they bend.
Yeah.
And and you can see this up close. There's not a lot of wear on those.
Yeah.
I wear these to every show I do, and I'm up and down all day long. So I'm grabbing boxes and, wrapping things up. My head's upside down. In fact, I like to show people that they can put their head upside down and they don't fall off. That's one of course, and I end up getting all sorts of stuff stuck in my hair when I do that, but so they're nice and comfortable. I've had people tell me that they've seen them other places, and that they've seen them other places and they've tried them on and they weren't comfortable to wear.
Yeah.
So I've had good feedback from the people that do wear them. In fact, if everybody, I actually brought a few pieces from my new line. Oh, that is such a color.
Yeah.
This is another new one that I hid.
Really cool.
For my 2000. That was geared more for my brides because I've been doing a lot of brides.
Well, I can definitely see
a little more simple, a little more elegant, not quite as colorful as some of my other pieces because I do get a little extravagant sometimes.
Yeah, and people seem to like that.
Yeah, and then I make simple things too. Not everybody wants to wear something on their head, so hairpins. It can be put into a nice simple bun. Office wear, work wear, things like that. And then I have to show this off because I searched for this stone for, I want to say, at least, since October. I have been looking for a perfect stone for somebody, and I haven't seen this yet. So, in fact, I'm going to give it to them before you air this. But I make pendants as well, and I searched high and low for a really nice, flashy, big labradorite piece. So I do lots of Tree of Lives on necklaces and rings. I have one here as well.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And then I'll show you one last one, just because this is my absolute favorite from the new line. And I call this the Empress.
That's really cool too. Yeah.
And this is all labradorite, so it's quite a... And I don't know if you know much about stones,
Nope.
but it is it's definitely one of the more beautiful stones that the earth creates.
Get my big finger out of the way. There it goes. Now it's focusing. That's really nice.
Thank you. And not only, the crystals, I have such a passion for crystals. Not only are they in all of my pieces, and that's what drives me to make the pieces, is they can do so much for your health. I was very depressed 5 years ago and very unhealthy 5 years ago. And in the last 5 years, I have learned so much more, even before I started my journey with the crystals, and how they can help you. I used to pop Advil on a regular basis. Now I use amethyst to get rid of my headaches. I take a dance class, and I was at dance class yesterday, and the girl's like, "Oh my God, I got a wicked headache," and I said, "Oh, I have an amethyst in my bag," and she was like, "Okay," and I gave her and so I told her, rub it on your third eye, rub it around your temples, it'll help. And she messaged me this morning and said, "My gosh, my headache went away. I'm never going to leave the house without amethyst again." So I just saved her from putting a bunch of ibuprofen in the body. So that makes me feel good. She feels good and I feel good, and the stones help somebody. Yeah. So, and they have all different healing properties. I have quite a passion for that as well.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so there's probably a lot there that, I guess people, not controversial, but people would argue with you about and some of those things. You probably get that a lot. And
you know what? It's funny because I do like scientific background on stuff, especially within the energy work that I do. And even though I teach actual classes on how to have energy help you and work with you. So I teach people how to feel the energy, how to use it, how to move it, and through different practices with their hands. And a lot of times people are amazed when they come to the class for the first time and they actually feel the energy, because us as people like to feel things and see things and really be able to touch them to understand that they can happen. So if you're never introduced to realizing that there's energy in absolutely everything, you wouldn't necessarily believe it unless somebody actually showed you. So a lot of times it's not until somebody actually will meet me and I explain to them and show them, and they go, "Oh wow, that's really cool," and so then of course that leads to more questions. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's talk about some of these pieces again. I mean, you don't have to pull them back out, but how long does it take you to make like a crown like that? Or
oh gosh. It's depending on the piece, depends on the time. The maiden, for instance, the crystal maiden, the new one, took a little longer than my regular maiden takes me. But, and of course, once you make a certain piece, if you make something similar, because all my pieces are unique unto themselves. You'll never get two pieces exactly the same, but they all follow a format, so you get better at your format as time goes on. So the maiden takes me about an hour. The crystal maiden takes me about an hour. The last one I showed you, that's a 24-hour project.
Really?
Each of those stones are hand wrapped individually before they're actually put onto the piece. So because they have to be fully secure. You don't want something like that falling out. Especially on a bride on her wedding day. That would not be good. So
so do you play around with any other styles as well? I know we got a lot of headpieces and stuff, but like bracelets or rings or anything like that?
Well, let's see. I did bring, this is an arm cuff. And so I do all sorts of bracelets, regular simple like silver bracelets with just like one little stone, to extravagant things. And then I do lots of rings. This is a tree of life ring that I made. But I do simple rings with just one little stone in the middle.
Cool.
So all different things. And my prices range from, I make little tiny MIDI rings that are really fun. I sell them for $3, and then you could pay $45 for something like this, so it really depends, and depends what it's in. And I use different metals. So I use copper, sterling silver, and then I use silver-plated copper, and it depends, Some people's pocket can't afford the sterling. It's very expensive. Yeah. And I like my stuff to be available to anybody and everybody. So
definitely.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So there's definitely a lot there, from I guess the different styles and all the creativity involved in it. It's probably heck of a process trying to come up with new ideas, new styles, and all that stuff.
It is. Like I said, I only brought a tiny box of
Yeah.
stuff, but I do actually have, I do a lot of Native American type stuff too, because that's in my blood. So I make dream catchers, and I do have headpieces with all the feathers hanging down, and I do ear cuffs too with lots of feathers coming out of them. So that would be more of like a boho type style,
Yeah.
where this is a little more elegant style that I brought today. So, it depends where I'm going to, what I'm bringing,
Yeah.
So I'm always picking and choosing what's going to what show. What is it geared towards? Am I going to a fairy festival? Am I going to the Renaissance fair? Am I going to go to a psychic fair? Am I going to do a craft fair? So I have to always pick what I'm going to bring to each show because
Yeah.
it's different. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cool. So I'm going to take a quick break here for the sponsors, so everyone hang tight for just a moment. If you've been following me around on social media, you should be aware by now, hopefully, that I have a book on the way. So I'm super excited to announce this. I'm writing a good portion of it, but it's also going to be an anthology of sorts. So it's a collection of writings from other entrepreneurs in New Hampshire about business for new entrepreneurs. So instead of going to the state and getting a little like pamphlet that shows you how to start a business, really, you're going to get a real hardcover book that's going to talk about what it actually is like to run a business with a family, or some tips on how to, get past the struggles in the beginning. So I'm super excited about it. Hopefully by the end of the year, it'll be out and ready to go. So keep in touch. nhbusinessshow at gmail.com. I almost forgot my email. And keep in touch with me as we go through the whole process. So, so let's get into the second half where we have a pretty good idea what you do, why. Just it's pretty cool. I like this. I like the crafts and all these types of things. So let's talk a little bit about the business side of it, because that's where people have the trouble typically, where we love what we do, but then we switch the business and we're tripping all over ourselves.
I just spent this last winter trying to figure out how to market everything. So.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a couple of things here that I always ask when I get creative people, and it's when you have a creative block, like you just can't think of something to do, how do you break past that and bring on new ideas and stuff like that?
That's always a hard one. I was actually on the phone.
It is a hard question, yeah.
A few nights ago with somebody like, I haven't made anything in like a week, and I've got all these shows coming up, and I don't know, there's just something missing. And you know what it is? It's just that it's not the right energy. That's what it comes down to for me. I just have to get that, once the energy kind of starts going and it only takes one little piece to kind of spark, and then I'll just keep going. So, yeah. But when it comes to looking for new ideas and stuff, I get a lot of my ideas from what's around me. So I live in the woods, so I get a lot of ideas from nature, the trees. I'll go outside, and honestly, I'll sit and meditate if I'm that blocked, because sometimes something else needs to get out of the way for you to get into your creative mojo. But sometimes there's just nothing there, so you just can't do anything.
Yeah.
And you hope it doesn't last too long, because I'm pretty sure it happens to any artist that I've come across, you know, and I think we all kind of do our own little thing to get over it, but sometimes you just need a little break,
Yeah.
I mean, the last 2 days I made 9 pairs of fairy ears, 12 hairpins, a bunch of pairs of earrings, and I kind of went, so I get into a roll, but then when I take a break, I kind of shut down, and nothing new comes in sometimes, so you have to shake it up a little to get it flowing again.
You were talking about having your 2018 line is coming out. Is there a lot of stress in that, like trying to come up with new ideas like that constantly, almost like fashion, where you're trying to stay new and on top of it, and is there a lot of stress there?
It's just, it's funny that you mentioned fashion, because I always considered myself an artist for the longest time with what I did. And, because I had started with painting and pyrography and I hadn't quite gotten into the wire wrapping until I had been into my business for about 3 or 4 months. So I was like, yeah, I'm an artist. And that's what I do for my hobby. But I realized when I gave up the campground that I was actually really more of a designer than an artist. Not that I'm not an artist, but it's different. It's almost, so you actually have to, because you don't want to make the same thing that everyone else is making. You want your stuff to be unique. And in the jewelry industry, that's very saturated. It can be difficult. There's a jewelry maker, I bet you in my town alone, there's probably like 5 or 6, and I come from a small town.
Yeah.
So imagine how many jewelry makers are here, closer here to the city where you are, it's a little more busier, and I'm sure there's more than that. And so in order to stay in the industry, you're constantly trying to come up with something new to, stand out and not be like, oh, that's cute, just like so-and-so's, so you're always working on trying to find out what hasn't been made yet, what can I make that's different, so, and a lot of that goes into it. And then of course, and I do, I have to find out what's the color, because there's the color of the year, and that's super in any type of, fashion or jewelry design business. That's really important. So I have to follow what colors are really hot right now, because whatever's trendy, a lot of times is what sells. So I have to kind of keep my eye on the trends as well as, what I want to make. Sometimes they don't coincide.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. Like, yeah, it's very creative, but I see this in photographers a lot. What they're paid to shoot isn't what they want to, shoot.
Exactly.
So you got to balance that with the money portion of it, and
you got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I try to incorporate the two because I really do want to just love what I do.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want it to make somebody else happy. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So let's talk pricing a little bit, and not like what the prices are, but how do you come up with the prices for each one? Because I know craftsmen have this issue all the time where you need to figure out, from having no other examples, like what to charge people for what you make and still make a profit.
Right.
With materials and all this stuff. So how do you go about kind of figuring that out?
There's a lot of different ways that people figure out what to charge for their item. When I first got into the business, the rule of thumb from all the crafters was it's your material costs you X amount and you times it by 3, and that's what you should charge. So that's what a lot of your handcrafters do, that do all the local craft fairs and things like that. And when I first started, I had no idea, and I just kind of picked prices what I thought they should go for, and there was, I had no idea what I was doing when I first started out. And I think my first big show that I did, I met another lady who does wire work, much different from mine, and she said to me, "Oh, you're really undercharging on your prices." She kind of was like, "You shouldn't be charging so low." And I said, "Well, I want to make things affordable for people." I didn't grow up with a lot. My parents worked my whole life, and I always watched them, work day to day, and I've been doing the same thing. So, I can't afford really, really, really expensive stuff. So I wanted to keep my stuff, available to everybody. The longer I have done this, more things have changed. My price points now I keep all over the place, from a $3 ring to a $600 headpiece.
Oh, wow.
So it depends, if it's going to be in sterling silver, it costs me more to make it. I can't keep my prices super low when it comes to that, because I won't make anything. So I basically, when I come up with a design that nobody else has, basically what I do is I price what did I pay for the items, so I have to take all that into account, and how much time goes into the item. I have to take that into account. When I spend 24 hours making a headpiece, I can't sell it for $40. You know, my headpieces start at 20 and they go up to 600. You know, so I have tried to map it all over the board for everybody, and I can be unique at the same time. You know? So I can keep experimenting and I can keep making more. And I don't know.
Yeah, so cool. So, do you do e-commerce as well? So people can buy your stuff online and you ship it to them?
Yeah, I have an Etsy store. I have my own website, and I have my Etsy store linked to that. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. I'm not from the technology era, so I spent a lot of time this winter really going outside my comfort zone and spending a lot of time at the computer and learning things that I never really thought I was going to have to learn. Things about marketing and business, and you know, so it was fun. It was a fun winter. I learned a lot, and now I'm trying to implement everything I learned.
That's good. Yeah, so it's good. So, you know, people can buy your stuff online. I asked so people know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so we're kind of wrapping up, getting to the end of this thing, and so you kind of already touched on it, but how do you prefer people get a hold of you when they want, you know, purchase something? Or...
Oh my gosh. Any way you want. I'm not picky. Like I said, I'm on Facebook as Mystical Inspirations. I'm on Instagram as Mystical Inspirations. You can email me. My email should be connected to everything. You can contact me through mysticalinspirations.net online. There's a way to contact me through my website as well. And if you find my card, my number's on there. I think my phone number might be on Facebook too. I'm not sure.
Nah.
I'm easy like that. However you want to reach out and get in touch with me and say, hey, I do a lot of custom work, especially for brides. So if you're looking for something and you want something custom that's just yours, it's special for your special day, come see me. I like to help.
Cool. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun, and I like learning about new industries, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
This was different. This was kind of cool.
Yeah, thank you.
So
I'm
thank
glad.
you for teaching me something new today.
So thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed as much as you always do. Reach out if you want anything, and I will see you guys in the next video. If you're not using the New Hampshire Business Show app to share us with the community, you are missing out. It's a lot of fun. It's super easy. It's chrispastrana.cardtap.com. And you're missing out on a huge chance to spread the word about the show.